What's up YouTube, it's Arbo, back with another video. Today I'm going to be answering some questions about Honey, I Joined a Cult. Common questions I ask myself and that I see that are common that come up in the Discord, in the Honey, I Joined a Cult Discord. You got a whole list right here. I'm going to read them off one by one and answer them one by one. The video will be cut up into chapters and sections, so hopefully that'll help everybody out. And if there's something I missed or something I did not get correct, please remember to drop a comment down below. I'll make sure I'll get out an edit or something, but I really do appreciate that. So let's get into it. The first question on the list, how to get more money. So early on, I noticed I was worrying about money a lot, and it seemed like I would not have enough to build anything or to buy enough food to progress. So my answer to that is just money will come naturally. At this stage, you can see I'm at day 114. Base is almost maximized space. I might need to reduce some room sizes if I need to add another room. Maybe reduce the sleeping quarters a bit. Yeah, no, we don't need to worry about money. I have 17k right now. I just had 100k. Maybe I think I got up. The max amount of money I've had at one point was like 150k, and that was a lot. Items do cost money. I think the Dark Altar costs 23,000. If you don't know what these are, don't worry, you'll get to them soon. I might even answer them. Short answer, money will come naturally. You don't have to worry about money. Question number 2, how to get more influence. So how to get more influence is actually a very big thing in this game. So influence in general, this little yellow swirly candy thing, gained from followers visiting the compound and from completing missions spent on research, sermons, divine inspirations, and leader abilities. So influence is super, super important. I found myself also wondering, along with money, how to get more because it felt like I was being starved. So my influence is a little bit different because the only thing early game that you really stress influence for is a sermon. And you want to do a sermon every day. You want to keep your cultists happy, all that jazz. That's another thing, I'm going to say influence will come naturally as well, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. And I'll explain a little bit more in the next following questions. Number 3 is how to do better on missions. On missions, you might find yourself failing a mission, or you might have a cultist that comes back hurt or something. I don't know. For me personally, I've only done a mission that I had a 100% success rating on. Even if it's, I think the lowest success rating that I've had for a mission was like 99.01. And I remember that because it was, it was funny because I was like, this is the lowest that I'll go on a mission. You guys can check back on my videos. I have a run. This very run is my first run trying to get to endgame. I'll also explain what endgame is at the end of this video as well. But for missions, you want to make sure that you really do. And as you can see, this is a level 10 mission. It requires 3 people. Even with this still isn't enough. In the research tab, you do have the ability to unlock covert operations. Covert operations are done in the covert op room, and they help with the rating of the mission. They make it easier for the mission to be completed. So right now, for example, this mission is 50% done, but I have 3 cultists with some pretty decent stats on it, but it's still total success rate 0%. So I would wait for the chance to get up to 100. And I don't think this is going to go up to 100. This will be a mission that I would just skip altogether. I wouldn't even waste my time with this. So yeah, 75% is still a 0% chance. If you want to do better on missions, try to always aim for 100% success rate. If it's not up there, I would say maybe 90%. And again, I repeat, I've never done a mission that was lower than 99.01%. I might have done one by accident because the begin mission button is just there. And some days I just didn't do a mission. Don't have to do a mission every night. But onto the influence side of things, you will want to try to do your missions every single night. And here's why. So PR, if you don't know what PR is, I'll explain that in a later question. If you're PR, it gives you 33 influence. Object acquisition gives you 34 influence. Heat reduction gives you 43 influence. That's also a level 10. These are also higher levels. So if you're watching this, you're low level, or you're at an influence, and all these stats will be different. So I would never worry about missions for money. I would never do a mission for money. I will only do it for influence. And with the addition of heat reduction missions, I would always do a heat reduction mission every single day because you want to make sure you keep your heat down. If you want to get to endgame, you want to try to stay below 300 heat. When you get above 300 heat, you'll start to attract attention from the public. Then riots outside, you'll get the police force and other individuals sneaking into your base. There's a lot of things that can happen once you're above 300. As a reminder, keep your heat down. How to do better on missions, just try to strive for 100% success rate and covert ops in your research tab. Make sure you do your covert ops until you get 100% success rating. Be 100% done for you to have a 100% chance of a mission being completed or successful. Next question, are heat reduction missions worth it? And I'd say 100% yes. Anything, I try to do my heat reduction missions over everything else. Even if you only have one mission slot rather than 3, because you can get up to 3 active mission slots. So you can do all 3 missions at the same time. There's also can be an option to do a 4th mission with a divine inspiration. For this question, we have 3, and actually for a long time you only have 2 because heat reduction comes later. And I believe it comes in a research tab. But yes, heat reduction missions are totally worth it because they give you influence and reduce heat. That is the strongest combination that you can have for a mission. Gaining influence and reducing your heat. PR missions are a close second because you want to get your PR rating maxed, as fast as possible so you can get better quality followers. Go on to explaining better quality followers and how to keep them in a later question. The more on to influence, I think this is my last influence related question. 5. Should you save influence for a ceremony? Quick answer, no. Early game, just know cultists are expendable. Early game, you'll have very poor and poor quality cultists. You really do want to make sure you keep your average cultist. I think that's Amy Leaf. I think everybody gets an Amy Leaf, who is an average cultist, who is just a superstar. You want to make sure you keep her, but everybody else that's poor and very poor quality, they don't need happiness in a cult. I'm being completely honest. And you can recruit more other people. So this is a poor quality cultist, and this guy's rating is 782, and he's still poor. So getting a poor quality cultist, especially at lower levels, the cultist leaves, they leave, just recruit somebody else, recruit a follower and get them on board. Just make sure that you cap out your followers so that you maximize your money and influence gains. And again, to repeat, should you save influence for a ceremony? Like I said, no. If you have enough influence to do a research project, a divine inspiration, or anything else, I would always say do that above doing a sermon, unless you don't have enough faith to run on. If you don't have enough faith, I would say no, but faith is pretty easy to come by. I've seen better followers and cultists. So as I said, you want to try to max out your PR rating as soon as possible. PR rating does drop over time, so you want to make sure once you do cap it out, you want to keep doing your PR missions, keep it out 1,000. I think around 700 or 800 PR, you get access to the highest quality, the potential for the highest quality follower, which is a very good cultist. And here you'll see I have my Daenerys Targaryen. She's very good. Dr. House, very good. I got a couple of other ones, Jessica Jones and Muhammad Ali. They're very good cultists, and they are the rarest in the game. The good quality is also rare. I wouldn't say hard or difficult to find. You want to find one and keep them, put them above everybody else. The method I've used to get better cultists is I look at the rating, or I don't know exactly what it's called, but the little number next to the recruit. So 104 over 490. So I would take I guess in math terms, the denominator, and this is their potential. So a higher denominator, a higher potential, a higher chance of them being a better cultist. Prime example right here, Dylan Redford, he has a potential of 686. It turns out that he's a good cultist. And the only way I was able to find this out is because I have a pool of revelation. And if you're newer to the game, you'll get access to the pool of revelations through the divine inspirations tab. And your cult leader will have to research that, but getting ahead of myself. Dylan Redford, 686. And he was a good cultist. Like I said earlier, Noah Serpico is a 782 potential follower, but he's only a 4. So just because they have a higher rating does not mean they're going to be guaranteed a higher quality cultist. So what I aim to do is only find cultists that were the highest in the PR range. So once you get access to poor quality cultists, look for cultists that are, have higher quality. So the poor range would be like 300, 400, 500, and then you get the average, then the good, and like I said, very good. So right now for very good, only looking for the 1,000 plus. So Blake Henderson, because he has a high rating, but that doesn't guarantee that he will be a high quality cultist. So remember that. The number 7, how to keep my cultists / followers happy. So I'll start on the cultist side. Everyone has a mood. Once the mood gets down below a certain level, then they have a mood break. The most important person in your cult is the cult leader. I want to make sure that your cult leader is really happy. Right now, I'm not worried about my cult leader. He'll self-correct over time. But let's look at Bella Monero. She's probably bored. The easiest way to make sure that your cultists are super happy, my rule of thumb is I like to have 2 of everything just in case something breaks. For example, this dominoes table, I have another one just in case somebody else really likes dominoes. 2 board games, do backgammon games, do card table, do of everything. Because if something breaks, somebody else can use it. And also, once you get a lot of cultists, you have, probably not enough activities in this room personally for all the cultists in my cult. But, it's a cult. It's fine at the end of the day. They'll be okay. So yeah, make sure they're having fun. Make sure they're having good breaks. Speaking of that, I'm gonna look at their schedule. Right now, all of my cultists, most of my cultists are on like a default schedule, what the game originally puts them on. And then I have 4 people that work overnight. And this schedule, I'll get into at a later question. Just make sure you have a good rec room and a good schedule for them. Make sure they have, you can work them until they leave or die. It's up to you. Cultists are expendable, especially at lower levels. If it's a poor cultist, if it's a very poor cultist, I would say even at the higher level, once you get up to an average quality, once you get up to, average as being your lowest or whatever, once you get up to the average quality, and another run might just run my average quality people all day, no breaks. And if they leave, I'll bring in somebody else. Now, how to keep followers happy. They have an interest. They start out with interest. So let me see, Brian Heston. Brian is interested in all the rooms. Sometimes followers aren't always interested in every room. Might be 3, might be 4. He was interested in all when he joined. Brian Heston will use a room until he's bored of it and find another room. Up here, the modules are later in the stages. I'll go over them really quickly. Got the Hypno Chamber. Followers that complete this room will receive a random trait when they become, they'll receive a random trait as well as a small amount of recruitment XP if they're recruited into a cultist. Monolith Room allows the cultist to automatically level up once they're recruited into a cultist. And the Pool of Revelations, you'll reveal their hidden traits. Pool of Revelations is super, super powerful. I really like the Pool of Revelations. So yeah, so to keep followers happy, there's not much you can do to keep them happy. Their interests go down to 0. They'll eventually lose interest in the cult and they'll leave. Later down the line, you'll get access to a hospitality room where they'll go when they're not doing anything, because originally, starting off, cultists that aren't doing anything, they'll go to the lobby. They'll chat, and their mood might improve. But if they don't chat, their mood won't improve, and yeah, they'll eventually lose interest in the cult and leave. Whatever. In my experience, it's not that hard to find new followers, so I would not worry about losing a follower. How to keep my cult leader happy. So as I said before, the most important person in the cult is your cult leader. So right now, the cult leader, his mood is down a lot. Ceremonies drain the cult leader's mood. And as I said before, with should you save influence to do a ceremony? And I said no. Another reason why you don't want to do it is because ceremonies will drain the cult leaders. And if he's dangerously close to a mood break area, yeah, just, you can't skip it. It's impossible to skip a ceremony. You can only not have enough influence to run a ceremony automatically. But you just want to make sure that he's not overworked. For this example, usually I'll have my cultist, the cult leader, have all day, like the whole morning free. He'll do whatever he wants, and then he'll do some divine inspirations in the afternoon. But right now I'm going through a lot of divine inspirations, and I want him to get them done right now quickly, so I have him on the same work schedule as everybody else. So yeah, it's up to you how you want to keep your cult leader happy. Number 9, how to make cultists more efficient. So there are a lot of different jobs and a lot of different roles. You see, I do have my schedule. I have a specific schedule, and I have a specific specific priorities for each and every cultist. Something really powerful that I like, you can copy a schedule from somebody, and then if you, for example, Amy's a new person in the cult, I'm getting rid of Andrew. Copy his work schedule, and his replacement, new cultist, I need to have his work schedule the same exact thing as Andrew. So you can go back in, you can close out of this, and come back in, paste Andrew's work schedule onto the new cultist. For example, I'm going to overwrite Amy, and also when you copy, it all automatically changes to paste, so be careful. Let me just paste that back. Personally, I have 4 overnight cultists. I've tried 5 before, but I don't think necessary for overnight things. So what I have is 1 covert ops specialist. So they focus on covert ops when they're awake overnight. As you can see, Amy is on covert ops, and the other 3 are janitors. Like I said, Abigail and Noah, and there's one more, Sabine. Actually, Sabine, she floats and she cooks food overnight. So with the new update, I probably won't have 3 slots for janitors. Maybe I will still have 1 flex for cooking. And I like having somebody cook overnight because when everybody wakes up, there's always going to be food. So more onto the priorities list. I see a lot of people, like they'll have 1 cultist, or actually their entire cult, they'll just have open space and they'll just have priorities. The reason I do not like that, and I've seen it happen, if everyone isn't told specifically what to do, for example, these boxes, low priority, high priority, ignore. So if everything is at a low priority, but you still have a high priority, doesn't mean that the cultist will follow that specifically. If another cultist thinks their job isn't doable, or they don't need to do their job right now, for example, the recruitment office, if Alexis thinks she doesn't need to go to recruitment office, she'll go to the maggot rejuvenation. If she goes there first before Daenerys, that means Daenerys will go somewhere else, and Daenerys will go to the discombobulation therapy. Then it will mess up Andrew, and I have specific people for specific things. Let's see, we have my lobby and recruitment people. So recruitment, Alexis White, she's specifically on recruitment, and if she's on recruitment, actually, so yeah, lobby and recruitment, I'll say my covert ops people. Covert ops, anybody that's on covert ops, for example, Amy's on covert ops. She only does covert ops, and the skills that are used for covert ops is also useful in the research office and maintenance room, which is, so covert ops requires espionage and planning. Maintenance requires planning, improvisation. Research office requires espionage and intelligence. So you can go both ways with that. Hospitality room, if anybody's available to man a hospitality room, I say go for it. But I do not want somebody with the traits for covert ops to go anywhere near the retail room. So everybody that is allowed in retail rooms have the skills spec so that they can maximize the profits for influence and money. Yeah, hopefully I explained that well. But if there are any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. So in addition to how to make cultists more efficient, I'm going to add in their specific traits, since I briefly went over that. As I said, Amy, she is specifically on covert ops, day or night, whenever, doesn't matter. And she also floats to something else that she's good at if covert ops aren't available. Covert ops requires espionage and planning. So I'm going to max out these two skills for her. So that is why I said I do not want her going to any retail room that requires empathy or bluffing. Everybody that has a retail room, and when I say retail room, it's a therapy room for followers to give money and influence. Another big way to get influence is by maxing out the influence related skills, such as empathy, which increases influence gains in therapy rooms if they use them. Empathy is mostly for the therapy rooms. Bluffing is for the recruitment and lobbies. Bluffing is for the House of Float. Empathy is for the therapy rooms. Bluffing for the chapel or the church, whatever you want to call it. There aren't that many skills that require bluffing, but these two do give influence gains. And I have Daenerys Targaryen. Her empathy is maxed. Secondary skill is retail because it gives money in therapy rooms, but it's a secondary skill. I want to max out my empathy on my therapy room workers. And as I said, you don't need to worry about empathy, or you don't need to stress out about empathy. Empathy will come. You just need to make sure you're doing your missions, keeping your heat down, and maxing out your stats for influence, whether it be empathy or bluffing. 10 question is ideal work schedule for cultists. Personally, I don't think there is an ideal work schedule. I'll show my cultist work schedule again. The default work schedule I think is fine, but I do have 4 people that work overnight, covert ops and maintenance. And so I have 2 primary maintenance people, 1 covert ops person up all night for covert ops, and 1 person cooking. And as I said, 1 person cooking overnight is definitely very useful because they don't need to be up during the day. They can sleep right when people are all eating, and there's going to be food. There's going to be food. They won't get distracted with other tasks. But overall, ideal work schedule. No, that's just my opinion. But there may be different things for a lot of different things, different schedules for different things. You never know. I would say the sermon time, I haven't moved the sermon time from the default 10 o'clock, but I did consider having the cult leader, have a nap during the afternoon and then wake up during the night just to do the divine inspiration so he's not distracted. But there's a lot of different things that you can do with the schedules. Very creative. And remember the copy and paste method. Very, very useful. There's also free all day, the work morning, work afternoon, and work all day schedules. As you can see here, click it. That's work all day. It's work afternoon. And this is what I originally had William on. It's work day, opposite. And free all day means it's just free all day. So number 11, what's up with prestige? Currently, prestige only matters for cultist moods. So the hospitality room. Hospitality room has a total prestige of 55. I think 60, 65, maybe 70 is the highest prestige you can have for a room. Prestige only matters for a room. So when anybody steps into the room, they'll get either a negative mood boost if the prestige is low, neutral mood boost the prestige is average, or a mood boost, positive mood boost if the prestige is great. Right now, prestige is low in this room. Let's see, this cultist, they're just in a bad room. They have a negative effect. And, you can't fix that unless you upgrade the room. Bedrooms, it's fine. It's whatever. But I think late game, if you really want to make sure that all the cultists are happy, no matter what, you got to decorate your rooms. When upgrades come around, it takes maybe $50,000-$75,000 to upgrade rooms at max level. So you got to be mindful of that. And that goes into number 12. Does prestige affect the influence/money generation from a room? And someone said in the Discord or asked in the Discord earlier today, does the prestige in the recruitment office affect how a recruiter recruits higher quality followers? The answer is no. So the prestige in the recruitment office will only affect the recruiter in that office. It won't affect how they recruit people or whatever. Even their stats, the valuable skills, retail and public speaking increases recruitment chance. It will not increase the likelihood of getting a higher quality follower to become a cultist. Everything's random. The only way you can increase your chances of getting a higher quality cultist is by increasing your PR level. And then again, even at max level, you are not guaranteed to get a very good quality cultist if you have the highest stat for a follower. Everything's random. Pick and choose, and do mass unfollowings and keep your heat down. The best advice I can give for that. The number 13 is the infirmary. So the infirmary at earlier levels is not useful at all. Keeping your heat down, you're not getting into fights with the police, or you're passing all your missions successfully, your cultists will never get hurt. The only time that they get injured is when they eat food with dirty hands. So I'll explain that mechanic really quickly. Every sink cleans the cultist's hands by percentage. At the highest level, the sink cleans at 95% chance, as you can see right there. At lower levels, I can't remember, but for example, you take this stat, 95%. So there's a 95% chance that the cultists will clean their hands. Or actually, we'll take it the opposite way. There is a 5% chance that the cultists will have dirty hands. And if they have dirty hands, currently in this patch, when this video came out, there's a 9% chance that they will get sick. So you can do the math. 5% times 9% is the probability that they will get sick with dirty hands. Even with that stat, my cultists still get sick. They still get sick. It's not a big deal. You don't have to worry about sending them to the infirmary because there's nothing a doctor can do. It's only I think if a cultist gets sick, it's like a 6-hour debuff end game. So it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to worry about that. But the hospital beds, the infirmary will come in handy when you get to very late game. You get high heat, or even if you're not at late game, you got infirmary, you got high heat, you're playing it reckless, and you're just having fun. Infirmary will come in handy. Just make sure you have a doctor. All right, got my doctor house. And the last question I have to answer is how to get to endgame. So this game does have an endgame. As you can see over here, I have a Hellfire room. And to complete the Hellfire room, you got to research the 4 upgrades through Divine Inspirations. So you get all of this through Divine Inspirations, which costs influence. I assume once you get all of the upgrades into your in-game room, which can be, so far I've seen a Hellfire room or a summoning room for the one, you'll continue on and be immortal. I don't know. We'll find out. If you know, leave a comment down below and let us know what you thought about the end of the game. Really great. So yeah, so that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked, leave a like. If you disliked, leave a dislike. Leave a comment down below. I hope everyone has a great day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'll catch you next time. Peace.